Imagine this. It's a cold, silent November morning. The temperature is hovering just above freezing as you head out to the chicken coop filled with hope. You've cleaned the bedding, bought the premium feed with the bright golden sunrise on the bag, and even installed a light bulb on a timer. You open the nesting boxes, expecting to find a lovely collection of fresh eggs, but there is nothing, just empty straw. You stand there in the bitter cold, a flashlight clenched between your teeth, staring at your quiet flock and wondering, what on earth did I do wrong? We've all been there. Our first instinct is usually to search for a bottle, a bag, or some new gadget in a catalog. We scroll through online forums and find 1,000 different opinions, most of them telling us to buy more supplements, more expensive treats, or complicated lighting systems. But what if I told you the secret to restoring your hen's egg production has nothing to do with spending more money? What if the answer costs absolutely nothing, not $1, not even 50 cents, and has been practiced for generations across the rugged, windswept hills of Scotland? Today we're traveling to the Scottish Highlands to uncover the ancient, time-tested wisdom of traditional crofters. We're going to discover the Scottish method, a beautiful, hands-on philosophy of animal care that depends not on feed store gimmicks, but on a deep understanding of biology and the gentle touch of your own hands. By the end of this video, you'll be able to pick up any hen in your yard and determine, within a fortnight, exactly when she stopped laying, why she stopped, and how to guide her safely and naturally back on track. So pour yourself a warm cup of tea, pull up a chair, and let's step together into the quiet wisdom of the farmyard. Welcome back to Farmyard Care. Part 1. The Great Egg Arithmetic. Hens spend eggs. They don't make them. To understand why a hen stops laying, we first need to explore a remarkable biological truth that the modern poultry industry rarely discusses. Here is the secret. A hen does not make eggs. She spends them. Every yolk a hen will ever lay during her entire lifetime is already inside her on the day she hatches. She is born with her complete lifetime reserve, thousands of tiny, microscopic ova gathered inside her left ovary like a delicate cluster of miniature golden grapes. Not one of those ova will ever be replaced. There is no factory inside her producing new eggs. She is simply spending from a biological savings account that was filled before she ever left the shell. So, whenever advertisements claim that a special feed, tonic, or lighting program can make your chickens produce more eggs, they are promising something biologically impossible. You cannot increase the total number of eggs available across her lifetime. You can only influence when she spends them. When artificial lighting is used to force a hen to continue laying throughout the dark winter months, no new eggs are being created. You are simply reaching into the following spring and pulling those eggs forward into December. And there is a cost. She empties her biological account more quickly, ages sooner, and loses the essential winter rest her body desperately needs to rebuild her bones and renew her feathers. In the wild, the ancient ancestors of today's hens followed a beautiful form of seasonal arithmetic. They understood that chicks hatched in the freezing darkness of winter would have little chance of surviving. So their bodies naturally pressed the pause button. When your hen stops laying during winter, she is not broken, and she is not refusing to cooperate. She is simply listening to her internal clock and saving those precious, life-giving yolks for the warm, abundant days of spring. But how can you tell whether she is taking a natural seasonal break or whether something else is happening? To discover that, we must learn the legendary Scottish art known as the handling. Part 2. The two-finger pelvic test. The art of handling on a traditional Scottish croft. Resources were limited, and the nearest veterinary clinic might be hours away across mountain roads blocked by snow. Farmers could not afford to guess which hens were laying and which ones were simply consuming valuable feed. They did not rely on distant observation or uncertain estimates. Instead, they practiced what they called the handling. They performed this examination quietly at night, while the hens rested peacefully on their perches. In darkness, a hen becomes calm and non-aggressive, allowing herself to be lifted from the roost without struggling. Gently tuck the hen beneath your arm, with her head positioned behind your elbow. Support her breastbone securely in your palm, then slide her legs carefully between your fingers so she cannot kick. Held close beneath your arm in the comforting darkness, she should settle almost immediately. Next, move 2 fingers down her belly, just behind her legs and directly beneath her vent. You are searching for 2 hard, pointed structures known as the pelvic pin bones. Every egg must pass through the space between these bones, so they reveal the truth about whether she is currently laying. If 2 or 3 fingers fit comfortably between the pin bones and the bones feel flexible, loose, and springy, the hen is actively laying. Her body has naturally opened this pelvic gateway so that eggs can pass through. The surrounding belly should feel soft, full, and slightly relaxed, almost like a warm, cushioned pouch. However, if those bones are tightly closed, allowing space for only 1 finger or a very snug 2, and they feel hard and rigid, she is not laying. Her egg passage is closed, and the surrounding belly will feel tight, shallow, and firm. In less than 10 seconds, without spending a single penny, you have removed the guesswork. But what if you also want to know how long she has been out of production? The old crofters had a visual map for answering that question as well. Part 3. The Yellow Pigment Roadmap. If you keep yellow-skinned breeds such as Rhode Island Reds, Orpingtons, or Plymouth Rocks, your hens carry a natural progress indicator directly on their bodies. Their beautiful yellow coloring comes from natural pigments in their feed, called xanthophylls. When a hen is actively laying, her body redirects every molecule of this yellow pigment into her egg yolks, making them rich, flavorful, and vibrant. As more pigment moves into the eggs, the color gradually disappears from the hen's own body, fading toward pale white or pink. Here is where it becomes fascinating. This bleaching follows a highly predictable, almost mathematical sequence. When the hen stops laying, the yellow color returns in exactly the same order, although much more slowly. The first area to change is the vent. After only about a week of steady laying, it begins losing its yellow color and becomes wide, moist, and pale pink. When laying stops, the vent is also the first place where yellow returns, becoming dry, tightly puckered, and more deeply colored. Next comes the delicate ring of skin around the eyes, which gradually fades toward white. After that, in breeds with white earlobes, the yellow pigment quickly disappears from the earlobes as well. The beak changes from the base outward. The bleaching begins near the face and slowly travels toward the tip. When the entire beak has faded all the way to the end, it tells you that the hen has been laying steadily for at least 1 or 2 months. Finally, there are the shanks, the legs, which serve as her deepest reserve of pigment. They are the last area to lose their color. If a hen's legs appear pale, washed out, or almost chalky white, she is one of the strongest layers in the flock. She has been producing intensely for months, pouring her energy into the eggs filling your breakfast basket. So, imagine handling a hen and discovering that her pelvic bones are tightly closed, while her legs remain pale, and only the vent and base of the beak have begun turning yellow again. From those signs, you can conclude that she probably stopped laying only a couple of weeks earlier. Isn't that extraordinary? Her body is literally recording its own history for you to read. No applications, no costly veterinary bills, only careful observation. Part 4. The Hen's Holiday and the Mystery of Light. Now we need to address one of the greatest misunderstandings in backyard chicken keeping. Why do hens stop laying in autumn, and is cold weather really the cause? Many people assume egg production stops because the winter chill has arrived. But consider this. A hen may lay perfectly well on a bright, crisp March morning at -6 degrees Celsius, yet produce nothing on a gloomy November afternoon when the temperature is a comfortable +10. It was never truly about temperature. It is about light, but the process goes even deeper. A hen possesses a highly specialized internal calendar. Deep inside her brain, beneath the thin bone of her skull, are light-sensitive photoreceptors that control this natural clock. Light does not even need to pass through her eyes to activate it. Even a blind hen will naturally begin laying again when spring arrives. And her brain is not simply counting the number of daylight hours like a timer. It is watching the direction in which those hours are moving. A hen may happily begin laying with only 11 hours of daylight when the days are becoming longer. Yet she may stop completely with 13 hours of daylight when those days are steadily shortening. Her body senses the direction in which the calendar is traveling. The old farmers of Scotland did not panic when this happened. They did not rush to the store for artificial heaters or light bulbs connected to complicated timers. My grandmother simply called this darker period the Hens holiday. She never said the chickens had stopped laying. She said they had gone away on holiday and would return soon. There is a beautiful sense of peace in that way of thinking. No anxiety and no frustration. Allowing your birds to enjoy their natural holiday gives their reproductive systems time to recover fully, allows them to rebuild their nutrient reserves, and helps them live healthier, longer lives. Part 5. The Highlands Sin Bin. Cooling the Broody fire. But what happens when the calendar says it is spring, the sun is shining brightly, and one of your hens still stops laying and refuses to leave the nesting box? This is the classic case of a broody hen. Broodiness is a powerful hormonal change caused by rising levels of a hormone called prolactin. In her mind, she is no longer an egg layer. She has become a mother. She may sit stubbornly on eggs, on an empty nest, or even on a golf ball with complete conviction. She will spread and puff her feathers until she looks as wide as a plate, and if you approach her, she may answer with a deep, threatening growl. To discover whether she is truly committed to brooding, try the traditional Scottish test. Gently slide your hand beneath her chest, with your palm facing upward. If she softly gathers or cuddles your hand beneath her wings, she is deeply settled into the broody state. To interrupt this cycle safely, without medicine or unnecessary stress, Scottish crofters created a simple but ingenious piece of equipment known as the sin bin. The sin bin is nothing more than a wire-bottomed dog crate or a wooden cage made with slatted bars. It is raised on 2 blocks and placed in an area that is bright and well ventilated, but protected from harsh weather. The science behind it is simple. During broodiness, a hen's body temperature rises significantly, particularly around her breast and belly, so she can keep her eggs warm. When she is placed inside a crate with a mesh floor and no bedding, cool, fresh air circulates continuously beneath her body. This gentle cooling around the breast and belly naturally resets her internal thermostat, signals the endocrine system to reduce prolactin levels, and gradually breaks the broody spell. Keep her inside the sin bin with constant access to fresh water, and feed for a full 14 days. Do not release her too early, or she may run directly back to the nesting box and begin sitting again. After 2 weeks, return her to the flock. Before long, you should find her pelvic bones opening once again and her natural egg-laying cycle returning. Part 6. The Poison of Kindness, the Oatmeal Myth and the Corn Trap. Now, let's talk about a quiet danger that begins with nothing but warm-hearted kindness. Every winter, as snow begins to fall, comforting photographs appear online of chicken keepers serving their flocks steaming bowls of oatmeal on cold mornings. It looks warm, caring, and full of love. We eat oatmeal to warm ourselves, so surely our chickens must enjoy it too, right? But the shocking truth is that oatmeal can be highly detrimental to chickens. A chicken's digestive system is completely different from a human's. Oats contain a complex soluble fiber called beta-glucan. Chickens cannot properly digest this fiber because they do not have the specific enzymes required to break it down. When beta-glucan enters a chicken's intestines, it absorbs water like a sponge and transforms into a thick, sticky, gooey gel. That gel coats the walls of the digestive tract and creates a physical barrier. As long as it remains inside her body, it can prevent the hen from properly digesting her food and absorbing essential nutrients, not only from the oats, but also from everything else she eats. This poor absorption can quickly cause serious nutritional deficiencies. Egg production may stop completely, while the hen's bones begin to weaken, and the problem can become even worse. A slow, gel-filled digestive tract creates an ideal breeding ground for dangerous bacteria, such as Clostridium perfringens. This can lead to a terrible and often fatal disease known as necrotic enteritis, literally rot gut, which destroys the delicate walls of the intestines. Oatmeal also contains only about 2.5% protein, while a laying hen needs a carefully balanced diet containing between 16 and 18% protein to produce eggs. When her crop is filled with oatmeal, the nutritional value of her entire daily diet becomes diluted, pushing her body biologically into the hole. If you want to give your hens a warm and comforting breakfast on a freezing winter morning, do not use oatmeal. Instead, pour their normal, nutritionally complete layer feed into a bowl, add warm water, and stir it into a soft, fluffy, warm mash. They will devour it with tremendous enthusiasm, and you can feel confident that they are still receiving all 38 essential nutrients needed to remain healthy and produce beautiful eggs. And be careful of the corn trap. Throwing a large handful of cracked corn to your chickens in the evening may feel like a lovely daily ritual, but corn is high in fat and low in protein, containing only about 8%. Too much corn causes hens to gain fat internally. Unlike humans, chickens store fat inside their skeletons, where it gathers around the internal organs and slowly smothers the reproductive tract until the hen stops laying permanently. Keep corn as a very small occasional treat. No more than one small handful for the entire flock at the end of the day. Part 7. Winter Water and the Ice Popper Trick. We spend so much time discussing feed that we often overlook the single most important ingredient inside an egg: water. An egg is almost 75% water. If a laying hen loses access to clean, liquid drinking water for even a few hours, her body immediately enters survival mode. Her egg production line shuts down at once, and even after perfect care is restored, it may take as long as a fortnight for her system to begin working again. During the harshest part of winter, keeping drinking water in liquid form becomes a constant struggle. You break the ice at 8 in the morning, only to return at 11 and discover that a thin, glass-like layer has already frozen across the surface. Your hens gather around the container, staring at the water but unable to drink. Traditional Scottish crofters had no heated metal bases connected to electrical outlets. Instead, they depended on a simple, brilliant, low-tech solution: the shallow black rubber bowl. Why does it work so well? First, black absorbs heat. Even the weak, low winter sun strikes the dark rubber and allows it to collect every available trace of solar warmth, delaying the moment when the water begins to freeze. Second, the rubber is flexible. When the water eventually freezes solid, there is no need to attack the container with a hammer or risk cracking an expensive plastic waterer. Simply turn the rubber bowl upside down, place it on the snow, and step firmly on the back with your boot. The frozen disk of water will pop out in one clean, satisfying piece. Refill the bowl with fresh, warm water, and it is ready to use again. Repeat this twice each day, and pay particular attention to the afternoon refill. Make sure that water is fresh, because it is the supply that must sustain your hens through the long, freezing winter night. Part 8. The Legacy of the Scots Grey and Cock-a-leekie Soup. To fully appreciate the Scottish method of poultry care, we need to understand the birds that help shape it. Since the 16th century, farmyards and small crofts across Scotland have been home to a magnificent and rare breed of chicken known as the Scots Grey. With metallic black barred feathers laid across a steel-gray background, these birds appear almost as though they are wrapped in traditional tartan. That striking appearance earned them local folk names such as shepherd's plaid and chick marley. They stand upright, are remarkably hardy, and forage with tireless energy, perfectly suited to finding their own food across the rugged, windswept hills of the Highlands. Unlike modern high-production hybrids that lay heavily for 2 years before suffering reproductive collapse, the Scots Grey is a slow-growing, dual-purpose breed. A Scots Grey hen produces a respectable 150 to 180 large, cream-colored eggs each year, and continues laying through the cold winter months without artificial heating. Yet, on a traditional croft, nothing was allowed to go to waste, and every animal was respected throughout every stage of its life. When a Scots Grey hen reached the natural end of her laying years and her egg production finally declined for good, she was still regarded as a precious gift to the household. Her bones had developed slowly and healthily during years spent foraging among wild highland herbs and minerals. Because of this, she became the essential, soul-warming ingredient in traditional cock-a-leekie soup. Those slowly matured bones produced a rich, mineral-dense, deeply flavorful stock capable of sustaining an entire family through the fiercest winter storms. It represented a beautiful, complete circle of gratitude, nourishment, and zero waste. Hand-to-hand knowledge. In our modern, fast-moving world, we have been conditioned to believe that every problem must have a commercial solution. We are told that when our hens stop laying, the answer must be another supplement, tonic, subscription, or gadget. But the ancient Scottish crofters understood a deeper truth. They knew that the finest feed, the best medicine, and the greatest care do not always come inside a bag or a bottle. They come from the handling. They come from entering the coop at night, lifting each bird gently in the peaceful darkness, feeling her bones, studying the color of her beak, and learning to understand the biological rhythm of her body. This hand-to-hand knowledge passed from mothers to daughters and from fathers to sons at the doorway of the henhouse for hundreds of years. It is a quiet and mindful approach to farming, one that connects us deeply with the animals we raise and the land beneath our feet. So here is your homework for this week. Tonight, once the sun has gone down, walk quietly out to your coop with a calm heart and a dim flashlight. Handle your birds. Feel the space between their pelvic bones. Study the yellow coloring on their beaks and shanks. Then come to the comments below and tell us where you are in this beautiful world, how many chickens you keep, and the exact week when they stopped laying. From those details alone, let's see whether we can map the changing seasons together as autumn travels across the globe. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed gathering this rustic knowledge with us today, please press the like button, subscribe to Farmyard Care, and share this video with another chicken keeper who wants to raise happy, healthy, natural hens. Until next time, keep your hands warm, listen closely to your flock, and happy homesteading.